At 3 p.m. in the afternoon, inside the Indian Treaty Room of the White House, the President of the United States entered in full ceremonial fanfare. "Hail to the Chief" blared through the speakers. The crowd and the invited guests rose to their feet. He walked in slowly, deliberately, pausing to shake hands and soak in the applause. And scattered throughout the audience, like props on a set, were men in construction hard hats, placed there to send us this message. Donald Trump, who has made $4 billion since taking office again, who was surrounded by representatives of the wealthiest technology companies on the planet, is somehow just like us. Just a regular working American who knows what it's like to sweat over an electric bill, who is fighting for our rights and not the man who has spent the last 13 months selling them to the highest bidder, mocking them, and stripping them bare. And the reason for this supposedly historic roundtable? It's that tech companies are going to pay for their own electricity. That was it. That was the entire premise behind the ceremony. A voluntary pledge from Amazon, Google, Microsoft AI, Oracle, Elon Musk's XAI, and another company that would have covered the energy costs of their own AI data centers instead of them passing them on to consumers, which in theory was how it was supposed to always work, right? But the real function of this staged event was simpler. It gave the president a chance to look powerful, surrounded by spokespeople from some of the most profitable and politically untouchable tech corporations on earth. It gave him nearly an hour of his favorite pastime, people telling him how brilliant, strong, and how only he could have pulled off a deal this impressive. And it gave the tech companies the perfect cover to rebrand themselves as responsible, measured, and careful stewards of the future. And with Trump saying it himself, they need some PR help because people think if a data center goes in there, electricity prices are going to go up. A tech executive gushed during her time to speak. She said, "We are proud to say today that we want to fully cover the cost of the energy that we use in our data centers." And then she continued with, "Sir, we are really proud that we're going to look back and have had the privilege to work with you. Thank you. Sir, proud to be here with you." And then David Sacks, Trump's AI czar, the former COO of PayPal, and more recently the founder of Kraft Ventures, a venture capital firm that manages $3.3 billion, he couldn't help himself and he said, "Thank you, sir. This is a very important boon to sustain, and thanks to your leadership, Mr. President." And also added, "I just want to vouch for the fact that in one of our very first meetings, you did say that you wanted to make our AI companies into energy companies. That was true. And I remember thinking, that's a really good idea. The president knows more about AI than I do. So this is thanks to your leadership." And Trump, for his part, just soaked in the round robin of compliments, but not before his own opening remarks. "These are exciting times. I think you probably want to speak about the war rather than this, but this is very important. We're doing very well on the war front. To put it mildly, I would say." And somebody said, "On a scale of 10, where would you rate it?" And Trump said, about a 15, and we're going to continue to do what we have, the greatest military in the world, by far." And then he continued, "I think we have great support, and if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot, if that was possible." And then he continued on from there. "And if we didn't terminate the worst deal, one of the worst deals ever made, the Obama nuclear deal, like all the Obama nuclear deal, where he gave everything to Iran, including a nuclear weapons, it was a roadmap to a nuclear weapon. Bad things would have happened 4 years ago because they would have had a weapon 4 years ago if I didn't terminate that deal. So we're in a very strong position now, and their leadership is just rapidly going. Everybody that seems to want to be a leader, they end up dead. And it's amazing. Amazing thing that's taking place before your eyes. For 47 years, we were pushed around, and we shouldn't have been." That was his opening at a round table about our electricity bills. 6 American soldiers had died so far in Operation Epic Fury, and all he did was try to convince us all how great he is. And the performance to show how powerful our leaders is didn't end with that Trump event, because earlier in the same day, Pete Hegseth held a news conference from the Pentagon, where his only job was to boost the image of the president. When speaking about our fallen military members, he said, "When a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it. The president wants to make the president look bad. But try for once to report the reality. The terms of this war will be set by us at every step. He was upset and tried to say that the press coverage of our killed military members is not about those lost lives, but only about making the president look bad. Tragic things happen. That's what he called them, tragic things. The kind of phrase you use when a flight gets delayed, or some people do, or a pipe bursts in a basement. Not when 6 Americans come home in flag-draped coffins from a war that was never authorized by Congress, never debated on the floor of Senate, and never explained to the American people in any terms beyond Trump's own boasting. And then there was Caroline Leavitt's press conference earlier that same day, where CNN's Caitlin Collins asked her directly, "Is it the position of this administration that the press should not prominently cover the death of U.S. service members?" And Leavitt's answer was not yes. But it was not no either. She said, "It's the position of this administration that the press in this room and the press across the country should accurately report on the success of Operation Epic Fury and the damage it is doing to the rogue Iranian regime that has threatened the lives of every single American in this room. If the Iranian regime had their choice, they would kill every single person in this room." And when Collins pressed her further, Leavitt called the questions disingenuous and said, "That's not what the secretary meant." Except it's exactly what he meant. We all heard it. Tragic things happen. That's not ambiguous. It was an administrative decision to treat the deaths of American service members as a messaging problem rather than a moral obligation. It is the press secretary and the Secretary of War of the United States both standing in front of a room full of journalists and telling them their job is to promote the success of a war and not to report on the people dying in it. These are all pieces of the same machine. Every piece of it is running the same program. Build up the president's image, protect his image, and punish anyone who dares speak the truth that may also tarnish this carefully manufactured imagery. And here's why all of that performance matters. Because the walls continue to crack wide open, and they know it, especially amongst the public, but also in his own party. Because during that same day, about a bipartisan majority of the House Oversight Committee voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi over the Epstein files. This was led by U.S. Rep. Nancy Mace, with Mace saying, "I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Honorable Pamela Jo Bondi to appear before the committee for a deposition regarding the department's handling of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and his associates, and compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act." The subpoena passed. Bondi will have to answer for what she has hidden, sanitized, and protected. Now, we already know that Trump's name appears in the documents. We already know Jeffrey Epstein ran not just a trafficking operation, but most likely a blackmail network, recording the powerful and keeping their secrets as leverage. We already know that the people closest to the president, people now running our government, people confirmed to cabinet positions and handed the keys to our federal agencies, have ties to this network that have never been fully explained. And we know that every time the public gets close to a real answer, something happens. A new war, a military action, more endless promises and attacks on the press. But what this administration is starting to realize is that no distraction, no matter how big, destructive, or lethal, will stop the momentum already underway. We're not going to forget about the files or the survivors or the perpetrators of such heinous crimes. Nor will we forget about everyone who has tried to bury the crimes and protect the predators. And at the heart of all this, everything this administration does, what Trump has done, and what he continues to do is real suffering. We have people, including vulnerable children, locked in detention centers. We're at war, and our military bases are on high alert, even here in the States. We have already lost at least 6 members of our military, if they're telling us the truth about that. Our government has completely destabilized the entire world. Real Americans are facing financial hardships. And according to the Wall Street Journal, 6% of Vanguard participants are now taking hardship withdrawals from their 401k plans for emergency cash to cover medical bills, evictions and foreclosures, and other urgent financial needs. So what do? We keep pushing back. We keep the pressure on through the midterms because that is where this changes. And we do it in 2 ways. We share the truth online. Every post, every article, every name of every service member they want us to forget. But we also take it offline. We have the hard conversations in real life. We show up visibly. We let people see that dissent is not dangerous. And we make sure the people around us know we are safe to talk to. And we continue to support our military because this is not going to be a quick war. Even if it ended tomorrow, those men and women will not be coming home anytime soon. We already know what happens when this country sends people to fight and forgets about them when they get back. We cannot do that again. And we continue to support independent media because the only reason any of us know what is actually happening right now is because of independent voices and the journalists that are still doing the work, regardless of the threats. So support them with paid memberships, share their posts, not just mine. Find 5 voices that you trust and support them however you can. Invite someone new to read or listen to their words. That is how we break through the algorithms. And we look out for each other. Our neighbors are hurting. People are draining their retirement savings just to keep a roof over their heads. And desperate people are easier to control. And that is exactly what this administration is counting on. We cannot let them pull more people into his darkness. We must show up for each other because that is how we hold the line. And on days like this, when the weight of the collective pain he is inflicting on his fellow citizens and the people of the world feels so heavy and it's hard to breathe, I remind myself of something that helps. These are not the moves of people who are winning. These are the desperate acts of people managing a slow collapse and hoping we don't notice. What they're doing now tells us how desperate they are becoming and just how close we are to breaking their hold. That is why I still have hope for America, and you should too. If you've made it this far, we are definitely on the same side of history. I'm working hard to spread this message and reach as many people as possible. So if you can, please take a moment. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let the algorithm know to show it to more people. And for my daily posts, you can find me on Substack by searching Heather Delaney Reese. And I've included the link below. And remember, no matter how dark the days get, and they are going to keep getting dark, I'll be here every single day. And together, we will always have hope for America. I'll see you tomorrow.